All right, so I want to start. You were recently recognized by Buffalo Spree as the best original music artist in the area for 2025. How does that feel?
It was a just like a really cool honor
Mm.
after last year of like quitting my full-time job to move into music and just like really grinding last year and starting from scratch and building this whole project up. Um, it's just kind of like cool confirmation that I'm on the right track, I guess. And obviously, as that being essentially a supporter driven award, like people going and voting and whatnot, it means a lot that, the people that have been coming to shows and listening to the music and stuff are willing to like take a second to go like toss my name in a hat for something that can, in the long term make somewhat of a difference in terms of PR and just getting my name out there and stuff like that. So really cool and timely honor.
And speaking of PR, you've been going real hard with the billboards, the marketing. What's your drive? Like obviously every I guess not every musician, but I feel like most musicians want their name out there, want to be making an impact. But not every musician takes out a billboard, right? What was
Right.
your drive on that?
Well, one of the lessons that I've carried with me from the job that I quit at the end of 2023, which I didn't take a lot of great things away from my bosses there, but one of the really good kind of things that has stuck with me is essentially the idea that in order to give yourself the best shot at generating any kind of success, you have to run every play at 100%, essentially. And if you get to the end and it didn't work out the way you wanted it to, or you didn't gain the traction that you wanted to, at least you can look back and say like, okay, I put 100% into that, and now I know it did or didn't work, and you can move forward accordingly. Either do something similar in the future or move on from it and not do that. So in terms of like marketing, whether it's social media videos or things more unique like the billboards, it's just a matter of like when the idea comes and if it seems like a genuinely good idea, because obviously there's a million ways to market. The social media game's kind of a standard across the board for all musicians. That's something that everybody knows is kind of something you have to do consistently. So that's a play I've been running. The billboards in particular, that was something where I actually, funny enough, I actually got an Instagram ad for a service that allows you to kind of do that.
Mhm.
And I'm not an Instagram ad. I normally just say, "Don't show me this ever again.
Right.
Go away." But it happened to be, and I was like, "Huh, I haven't seen any other artists in the area doing anything like that." And I have like the graphic design know-how to at least put something together that can work with that.
Yep.
So I decided to take the shot. It was an Australian company, and I didn't know if I was about to blow $500 and never have it come back around to me. But it ended up working out in a really cool way. So I'm basically trying to stay consistent with the stuff that I know is part of the game, and now more so now that I'm a year and a half, almost 2 years into this, trying to keep an eye out for things, whether it's other people doing it or something like an Instagram ad popping up.
Mhm.
Keep an eye out for things that are more unique and will be more eye-catching than, again, just like a standard, me playing my song that I put out on social media kind of thing. So just keep an eye out for those more unique opportunities.
And now you've got a bunch of new music out lately. You just put out an anthology a couple weeks ago. What, just I guess tell me about that, how anthology came together.
Yeah, that's essentially been the project for the past year and a half. When I moved into this akloh chapter, I have made and released music previously just under my name, Jordan Holka. And there were a handful of those songs that I knew were good enough to be received by people and to be related to by people. But in the past, I had recorded everything myself in like my basement or my dorm room back in the day, and it didn't sound good necessarily. But I believed in the songs, and that's kind of what I consider my strength is songwriting over everything else. So when I moved into this new project, I knew there were songs that I wanted to take with me. I didn't want to just leave them behind forever. So I dipped into kind of that existing library and pulled out the 9 songs that I wanted to bring forward, and then connected with RJ DeMarco, who's a Buffalo native but lives out in California now, which is where I'm heading tomorrow to record the next thing with him. We, put this together. 90% of the album, I don't know, 80 to 90% of the album was recorded remotely. There's a lot of wildly ridiculous technology now that let me like essentially sit right here and record my guitar onto his computer in California. Yeah, it was wild. A lot of frustrating parts about that process too, when like the internet doesn't work or the
Right.
app crashes or whatever. But it gave us the opportunity to do that. I went out there to record like vocals and guitars. And then the first song started dropping in August of last year. And because this was kind of a compilation album, hence the name Anthology,
Right.
it made sense to me to promote every song as a single because each one in the past had been put out as a single. And like I said, I just believed in every single one of them. So it wasn't necessarily supposed to last this long in terms of the release cycle. It wasn't supposed to be almost a year. But when I'm kind of the guy doing my networking, my marketing, my social media content, like all that stuff, I have a couple friends that help me out, and I'm eternally grateful to them for all their help. But it's mainly just me. So there were a couple times where I fell behind and had to kind of fill time with some
Mhm.
other stuff to be ready for the next thing. So it stretched out a little longer, but all things considered, it came together as beautifully as I could have asked for. And it's been a really cool year since Anthology started of like just cutting my teeth of saying, okay, I have 9 songs. I want to promote every single one of them and just showing myself that I can do it and over like a long stretch of time.
Mhm.
So I think going forward, like obviously taking all the pride that I have in the album and the songs forward, but also just the confidence of like, okay, that was a big release. That was 9 songs. Every single one was pushed hard, and like I made it through. So like for smaller releases, this next one's going to be 3 songs. The one that I have next year, which will be the next project, will be 5 songs. Like I know I can handle those at this point, you know.
Right.
And also Anthology brought people into my circle and also showed me who's down to help and who's down to be a part of the project and everything like that. So I also know going into the next thing that I have people to lean on and stuff. So it was a very cool way to start things out,
Mhm.
and it showed me a lot over the process.
Nice. Now you mentioned recording previously, and now you've, kind of transitioned to recording as Aqua. What, I mean, obviously it comes from your last name. What made you like flip the last name and put
Yeah.
the name in?
Did you figure that out on your own? No, dude, no, dude, literally, like even my own family is like, "What's Aklo?" And I'm like,
Oh, for
guys,
real? I thought you
yeah,
were just razzing me there. No, that's funny.
no, no, like for real, like there's very few people that have grabbed it originally. And if I think it's probably archived now, but way back when I started, I put up a little video that kind of explained it. It's
Uh-huh.
essentially, like I said, music's always been a part of my life, but for the past, not the past 5 years now, but when I started it, the past 5 years, I had been focusing entirely on my fitness career.
Right.
Um, and so the idea was I'm essentially kind of reversing the course of my life. I'm flipping the focus to something else.
Mhm.
But I'm still like, still me. It's still the same person. So I wanted to keep the name there.
Right.
And then the period at the end, which whenever that's been the most frustrating part of this whole project is every time someone puts like my name on like a poster or something, the period's not there because it's hard to tell that it's part of the name. But
Mhm.
that's supposed to be there to indicate that like, all right, I'm flipping things around. I'm still the same person, but I'm moving forward toward like this new end goal of taking this project as far as possible. So yeah, I wanted to keep it me, but I wanted to make sure because I wanted to keep it me, but separate it from myself at the same time. Because another piece of the puzzle when I was starting out was knowing that like releasing music under your name is cool, but a pseudonym of some sort kind of solidifies the artist, I suppose, when
I get what you
people
mean.
talk about you and look at you instead of just saying Jorian Holka, which can be talked about in a million different contexts. Aklo is like one
Just the
context.
art. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, and now you also recently put out a music video for Mayhem of Today. Tell me about how that came together.
Um, that song is really special to me. I wrote that one back in college, actually for a like band that we put together very briefly to do a battle of the bands that they had down there. And it was a totally different song. And at the end of August, I'm going to be putting out Anthology, the deluxe edition, which is going to have the demo or previous versions of every song on the album,
Mhm.
as well as 3 unreleased tracks that were previously recorded in 2020. They're not being re-recorded or anything, but they were remastered and they'll be included as well.
That's
So the original Mayhem version will be on there. Um, but when I wrote it, it was the first song that I've really written as like, it's written in the first person, but it's not written from like necessarily my own personal experience. It's kind of like a story that I'm telling in the first person,
mhm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
And that was one of the first times I had done that. So I kind of already liked it because of that. But then once the original version of the song didn't have the instrumental kind of bridge interlude part, and once I wrote that, that's to this day one of my favorite things that I've written, especially like guitar part wise. So just for multiple reasons, this song is special to me. It's been with me for a while. It's unique in multiple ways. And I think it puts a nice kind of bow on the album, an album that starts really rocky and then transitions into this softer, more emotional, kind of personal side.
Mhm.
And I just felt like it put a good bow on it, and kind of the idea between of the progression of the album is that, like, again, it starts very rocky, you know, in the videos for like I got the shades on, like it's very like rock star-esque kind of corny kind of shit. But toward the end, it kind of starts again developing into that more emotional stuff and personal stuff. So I wanted the video to kind of show that transition. Being that that's why I got nothing on but some briefs. I don't have my glasses on. I don't have a hat on, which are kind of like things that they're kind of like appearance crutches for me. Like I always have them on and I'm very comfortable in them. I'm kind of uncomfortable without them. So it was meant to be a very like stripped down kind of thing to show that even though you can have someone who might appear to be like the most confident and cocky or whatever you might want to call it, there's also this everyone can have a very soft, personal, emotional side.
Mhm.
But also the tail end of it where at the end of the music video goes to color and like the gradient comes across the screen and lands on the half face kind of look, which was the album cover
Right.
for the first group of songs. That was also supposed to say that like an experience like what's described in Mayhem of heartbreak and this and that can create a person who's kind of like that kind of bombastic, cocky kind of person as they get that attitude because, end of a relationship, whatever it might be. So it was meant to kind of tie things together from front to back, but also kind of circle from the album back to front, and just kind of connect things in a circular fashion. It just, if another song had ended the album, that might have gotten the music video, but this one
Mhm.
seemed to be the right one, and it seemed to be a cool opportunity to do something that's not it's not a very complex music video, but it serves the song very well. Whereas any of the other songs, I think it would have required a bit more going on. So it just made sense for that to be the last one. And I'm really, really like proud of how it came out. Connor Mink, who shot it, did amazing. Sophie and DJ, who danced, like incredible. Gave all of them like a lot of creative reign to like, here's my vision, here's some notes here and there, but like choreograph this as you hear the story. Connor like color grade it and like put the shots as you see fit based on the song. And so it was a cool like amalgamation of everybody's artistic ideas, you know?
Mhm. You looking forward to the Ironwork show?
Oh, dude, that's gonna be amazing. Yeah, we're rolling on the full band practices now, so that's the next big thing. It's gonna be the first full band show, and I'm really stoked on the lineup, the guys I have involved, which I'm gonna like reveal closer to. But yeah, I couldn't be more excited. That it's stressful now because like I have so much going on and they all have so much going on that like finding time for each other is really tough. But we're making it work, and it's gonna be a grind for the next month or two to get that like set. But once it is, it's gonna be like I haven't played in a band or like with an electric guitar and since my like second or pretty much my second or third year of college. We played like one show my senior year, but like it's been so long,
Mhm.
it's like 8 years, and that's where I really like. For as much fun as I have an acoustic guitar, like being able to really let loose with like a full band is like that's where I love to be. So I guarantee I'll shed some tears on the 12th. It's going to be a fun night.
What is musically speaking, or even just in general, what is your inspiration?
I mean, it definitely stems from like my favorite bands. You know, you have Green Day, you have Foo Fighters, Switchfoot. I dip into some pop stuff, 21 Pilots, Post Malone, and then there's a bunch of other random kind of like some metal and some R&B, jazz fusion, like Snarky Puppy, like stuff like that. Like I'm kind of all over the board, but my main ones are like those big kind of stadium rock bands, and then those like big pop acts.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that's where the sound mainly comes from. There's some like hints of other stuff in there,
Yeah.
but it's really that like I call it arena rock or anthem rock, like whatever. It's like kind of that bigger, not the most complex music, but bigger sounding, and it hits hard.
Mhm.
Um, and then like subject wise, again, these songs on Anthology kind of run the gamut because they were written over so many years. But for my project that's coming out next year, that will be recorded and come out next year, that's from my very personal experience of like the year 2023, when like a lot of my internal changes were happening about wanting to change the course of what I was doing with my life and stuff like that. So subject matter and topics generally come from me,
Mhm.
and just my personal experiences. Like I said, Mayhem was one of the few that I wrote from kind of as like a story.
Mhm.
But the sound is definitely just a combination of the bands that have influenced me over the years. Like no, it's pretty. Wouldn't call it a copy, but you can definitely like every time I play someone a song, they'll say, "Oh, this sounds like this," or "This sounds like this." I'm like, "Well, yeah, I listened to them for 15 years, so that makes a lot of
Right.
sense." So, yeah, that's what I would say.
And if you had to pick one song, could be past or present, whenever, for everyone to listen to recommend to anybody, what would that be?
Ooh. Um, I would have to go with Midlife Crisis. Of all of them, that's the most. There's a lot of personal songs, but that's the most personal, especially because it's helped me through multiple scenarios. Like the lyrics over the years have taken on, now I wouldn't say taken on different meanings, but I found like, oh shit, like suddenly they apply to this scenario and suddenly they apply to this scenario too. And they've actually helped me through. And I've heard that same thing from other people who've really given my music a chance, that they kind of latch onto that one. And it's helped them in certain scenarios too. So I would say like, and it's also that balance of like some of the rockier stuff, but it also is kind of the bigger, more complex, a little more personal sound as well. So it's kind of that middle ground of all my stuff. So I would say Midlife Crisis is the one for sure.
Awesome. And is there anything I haven't asked that you would like everybody to know?
Um, no, I don't think so. Just keep an eye out for Anthology Deluxe at the end of August, and then the full band debut on 9/12 at Ironworks, and then a holiday release toward the end of the year because everyone needs a little holiday cheer, you know?
Nice. Is that a cover or is that an original holiday song?
It's going to be a couple covers they'll hit streaming services and everything like that, but try to make some of the classics maybe give a little fresh take to them.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm
All
ready
right.
for
Well,
it.
Jorian, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And yeah, I'll let you know when the interview goes up and everything. And yeah, I'll keep you
Sounds
posted.
good, brother. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Adam. I appreciate what you're doing, man. It means a lot.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.
All right, homie. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.